And that's the story of how the classic Sonic Mafia cut my legs off.
Man, a lot has happened since I was gone.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're going down a dark alleyway to try and get some, oh, we're on! Right, this series, well, in this particular episode, we'll be rambling about Sonic or something. But in this one, we'll also be talking about Crash Bandicoot to spice things up, seeing as how we are going to be comparing and contrasting their two newest racing games, Team Sonic Racing and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. I'm sure some of you will rage and shout about this, saying that it's unfair because I never bothered playing Team Sonic Racing, and the fact that one is a new game and one is just a remake, but we're not going to focus on gameplay and story or whatever. We're just going to be observing its content and design.
Basically, this video is just going to be about Melting Mang saying, "This here CTR game is the greatest thing to happen because Team Sonic Racing sucks."
Well, that's one way of describing it. I just find these games to be very interesting when comparing and contrasting. They're basically polar opposites from each other. Now, I've already made a retrospective video on my history with Crash Bandicoot. Crash 3 was the first video game I ever played, so I have a lot of love and memories for this franchise and so on. Luke, your personal thoughts on the orange marsupial?
Well, I did know about Crash Bandicoot as a kid. I never grew up with the original PS1 games when they came out, but after my good friend Steph, Kawaii Steffu, converted me to the series, as well as watching Cardicarus videos, I got to learn more about the series. My first game was Crash Twinsanity on the original Xbox, then Tag Team Racing and Wrath of Cortex on the GameCube, and I have the original PS1 version of CTR on the Vita, but I didn't play it much due to the controls which were hurting my hands a lot. Also, the Insane Trilogy on the Switch was my first experience with the original trilogy, and I have played CTR Nitro Fueled. Overall, I think the new Crash Trilogy and CTR are a great way to introduce Crash Bandicoot to a new generation of gamers, and even give people who have never played Crash at the time to check the games out.
Ah, interesting. Alright, let's start this comparing and contrasting thing, starting off with marketing. Now, as we all know, marketing is a big thing when it comes to getting your product some attention. Make some people excited as to why they want to buy this hot new racing game for the home consoles. With Nitro Fueled, every trailer was just full of surprises. Oh, the remastering Crash Team Racing with cars from Nitro Kart. Cool. Oh, now we're getting tracks from Nitro Kart. Oh, now we're getting characters from said game. Even boss races. Oh, now we're getting fully customization. And even Crash Tag Team Racing content. Yeah. Oh, wow. Now we're getting special events where they introduce new characters, tracks, and everything that comes out for free in updates. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, considering the fact that at first Activision didn't have much advertising when it came to the Insane Trilogy, and here they are with Nitro Fueled showing off the game's bells and whistles. And how does Sega handle advertising their racing game? By showing off music and barely any gameplay. What? Come on, Sega. I thought you were advertising a video game, not a random playlist off of iTunes. I know the music in Sonic games are usually well received, but when music is all you have to show for a supposed video game, it almost comes off as false advertising. Oh yeah, then IDW made a comic advertising Team Sonic Racing. Pfft, whatever. Although I will give them credit, at least they made that ad more of a one-shot standalone issue, rather than trying to shove it into the main comic series. I always hated that when Archie Sonic did that, having those ads taking up space like Sonic Universe issue 45 being nothing more than an advertisement for Sega All-Stars Racing Transform. But it's more annoying when these ads are somehow canon to the comic universe, even though we never really see these events fully happen in that universe.
I do find the advertising for CTR pretty okay. I do recall seeing on a few Facebook posts how they reveal what's going to be in the Grand Prix. I was amazed how they turn it into Crash All-Star Racing. As for Team Sonic Racing, I mostly remember them advertising the music, but yeah. Don't remember much gameplay being shown. At least we got those 2 animated videos.
Oh yeah, those stupid cartoons that people only like just for the memes and nothing else.
Oh, come on. Just give them a chance rather than looking at random screenshots. They're not that bad. Some of them do have that wacky races feel to it.
Right. Next, let's take a look at characters. It's amazing how much of a roster Nitro Fueled has. At launch, they had 26 characters total. Then they started adding in more characters during the Grand Prix events in their updates. By the end of the final Grand Prix, we have 51 playable characters total, with an additional 4 being added in later. Not sure if we'll be getting any more, but still, very impressive roster. and a majority of them come from Crash's history. You got all the Crash Team Racing characters, Nitro Kart characters, some Crash Tag Team Racing characters, fan favorites like Nina and Embryo, a guest appearance from Spyro the Dragon, and even some of the more obscure ones like Rillaroo, Yaya Panda, and Megamix are given a second chance in this game. It's great seeing characters like the Nitro Squad get reintroduced. Back then, all they did was just smile and wave and twirl their umbrellas, but now they're playable characters and have their own personalities. But even so, we occasionally get some brand new characters like Baby Crash and Baby Coco and King Chicken.
Well, if Mario Kart gets baby characters, I see no reason why Baby Crash characters are included. Was confused where Baby Cortex and Tropy were, but they put them in at the end. King Chicken may be an odd racer, but it's not as weird as racing as a crate. I like the weirdness of that. Also, that Hasty character is apparently based on a myth about a scrapped hippo racer from the original Crash Team Racing, and he kinda reminds me of Ace Rimmer of Red Dwarf a bit. This is just like when Ermac from Mortal Kombat started off as a rumoured super fighter, but later became a real fighter in the franchise. And then we have Team Sonic Racing, a game with a total of 15 playable characters.
Yeah, pretty sad to look at. I'm surprised Sega didn't shoehorn in a Team Classic Sonic bunch, seeing as how they love pandering to that Genesis nostalgia. Not to mention the fact that this game is made by the same company that worked on the Sega All-Star Racing games. I mean, look at the past titles they did. Sega All-Stars Racing has 20 characters, or 23 if you count all the console-exclusive ones. Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed has 24 or 25 total, depending on the console, while the Steam version has 31 with all the exclusive guest characters. These were games that featured characters that didn't have much attention, but still having fun with them. And then we have Team Sonic Racing, a game just focused on the Sonic characters, a game where they said it would focus more on the Sonic universe, so you'd think that Sega would give them a little more creative freedom with how big the Sonic universe is, especially with how the previous titles they featured some more obscure elements from Sega's past. Sega All-Stars featured characters from a Japan-exclusive House of the Dead game, and Transformed did some showcasing Panzer Dragoon and Burning Rangers. But no, just 15, with no post-launch updates adding in new content. Yeah, so much for showcasing the Sonic universe. Reminds me of when I was disappointed with the character roster in Looney Tunes Space Race. Pretty tiny compared to the previous racing game that had a lot more interesting characters to choose from.
It seems like Sega can be real stubborn with bringing back past characters. Sure, a cameo is nice every once in a while, but a physical appearance would be great. Other times they just use them as filler, like how Eggman Naga has been made to be more exclusive to the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I don't know if this has to do with copyright issues or something else, but when you see how they advertise Team Sonic Racing in interviews, where they talk about focusing more on Sonic's world and character interactions, it sounds like we're getting a decent cast of characters. But nope, all we get is the standard cast, Random Chow, Zavok, for some reason, and the new fancy character that I'm sure everyone has forgotten about already.
Yeah, it's like that's become Sega's new strategy when it comes to introducing new characters. They make them bland as generic as possible, so that way they will never ever appear in another Sonic game again, to appease the people that complain that Sonic has too many characters. Yeah, look at the past titles. Infinite being all over the place and confusing, and then anticlimactically killed off. Then that Dodonpa guy that nobody remembers. And the recent Sonic movie had the luxury of having 2 brand new characters that no one gives a shit about, thanks to their lack of screen time. It's interesting how Nitro Fueled has a handful of obscure characters who only make small appearances, like Nitro Squad and the Nitro Kart characters. Heck, Yaya was originally from some very obscure Crash racing games on old mobile phone devices. But even with the new or established personalities, they all managed to stay in character. As opposed to Team Sonic Racing lazily retconning Zavok for being a loyal servant to Robotnik, pretending that his grudge against him in Lost World never happened apparently. Yeah, sorry Sega, even in spin-off games you need to keep your characters consistent. I know there's plenty of people that would love to see forgotten Sonic characters come back, but of course it never happens because Sega just doesn't do it. Never has, never will. And no, Mighty and Rain Sonic Mania doesn't count, because I can think of plenty of reasons of why that doesn't count on the list. We also have an Iron Checkpoint crate as a playable character in Nitro Fueled. Yeah, a random item from the game that originated from an in-joke in the fanbase became a reality. In fact, now that I think about it, Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed had a joke character like that. Yeah, Ages, the living, breathing virtual memory unit. And Team Sonic Racing doesn't even bother head giving us a joke team, let alone a single joke character.
Just imagine what would have happened if Sanic was in Team Sonic Racing.
Well, if that was a thing, then I would be very, very pissed off, most likely. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, why is it that I'm fine with this meme in-joke like the Iron Checkpoint crate being a playable character in Nitro Fueled, yet I'm usually against this concept with Sanic, especially with how he's been showing up more in official Sonic media these days. Well, for the Iron Checkpoint crate, yeah, it was an in-joke in the community when discussing about what other characters they want to see playable in Nitro Fueled. And the fact that Beanox decided to make that a reality is surprising. Much like Penta Penguin and King Chicken, the crate is just another joke character. And it makes sense, since at least it's something in-universe, since crates have always been a staple in the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Much like how the lab assistant enemies are the most common enemies. Sanic, on the other hand, is just some crappy drawing of Sonic that somehow got super popular. And I never really liked the whole Sanic thing. In general, I hate this sort of thing when crappy drawings get more attention than actual fan art. And Sega just decided to take that a little too far and shoving Sanic into their official Sonic media. Eesh. But then again, this is the sad reality of the meta era of Sonic that we're still living in. Looking at it more closely, Sanic isn't so much of a joke laughing with us, but more of a joke laughing at us, mocking the people who actually like Sonic the Hedgehog. That's how it always feels like to me. Whenever I see videos featuring Sanic in them, it's always being used in a negative light. Something like, oh, look at these Sonic fans, they're so stupid for liking this stupid franchise, they're dumb, I have a hunch that the guy who made that whole Sanic thing never really liked Sonic anyway. Would be interesting to look more deeper into, but it seems like the guy who made that thing, Onyx Hearts, I think, seems to have disappeared from the internet. So all I'm left with is just pure speculation, as we may never know about this guy's inner thought process in making the Sanic thing. Was it just a joke that the internet took the wrong way? Vice versa? Who knows? Anyway, to wrap this up for the characters, when it comes to using characters in spin-off games, Sega is just too stubborn or too lazy, while Activision, on the other hand, is like, alright, Beanox, we want you to add in new content to this game. Here's the keys to the Crash Bandicoot archives. Now go crazy.
The one thing these games have in common is the gimmick of customizing your vehicle. Driving around in fancy wheels, painting, decals. All that's missing is the option to customize cosmetic items, like having a hood ornament or antenna decorations.
One thing that's been bothering me with this customization trailer from Team Sonic Racing is performance. Swap parts at the garage to modify your car's performance. Oh, okay. So is it kind of like Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, adding on things that can change how the cart handles and weighs and drives around? It's kind of like that, changing stats, sure. But the options you have for changing the appearances of the cart's body and wheels are very limited for the most part. 6 different items, half of them are different parts, and the other half are just the exact same parts but painted gold. Pfft, whatever. Well, at least the paint and vinyl options do their jobs well.
And we can't forget about the most important thing to customize, the horn.
Yeah, changing the sound of the horn. Because when it comes to racing games with customizing features, the one thing I care about the most is the horn. The one thing nobody cares about in racing games. But does Team Sonic Racing make this important, like activating a special attack or speed boost? No, they're just frickin' horns. Sure, Nitro Fueled lets you honk the horn on the carts, but unlike Sega, they don't try and oversell it, acting like it's a big deal for changing horns or whatever. Speaking of which, there's 2 things that Nitro Fueled has that makes it the better game in terms of customization. Alternate skins and costumes for your characters, and being able to drive around in any cart. Yeah, brand new costumes for lots of characters, as well as outfits from Crash's history, which makes it more fun to make your characters look cool or just ridiculous. So unlike Team Sonic Racing where each character stays in their own cart, Nitro Fueled gives you the option to drive around in anything. Want to drive around in a snowplow? There you go! Want to drive around in a hovercraft? There you go! I recently had a chat with a friend on Discord about Sonic games, and we found out that when it came to Sonic games that let you change the characters' outfits, it's surprisingly there's not that many. Like, there's Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Rivals 2, and yeah, that's it. And no, I don't count the mobile phone games. Having a character in a different outfit hogging up space in the character select screen is extremely cheap. Isn't that right, Mario Kart Tour? As for the rest of the content, you have decals, paint, and stickers. It's insane with the one customization feature that has the most options are frickin' stickers. Still, lots of fun ways to customize your ride. But I will give Team Sonic Racing some credit. Their paint feature gives you more options to customize and even lets you change the vinyl's color. Unlike in Nitro Fueled, where you just stick to the one paint job and the decals only change color depending on what paint you're using.
But the game has gotten a lot of flack due to Activision's sneaky way of adding microtransactions a month after it got released. It got so bad that people are no longer interested in getting the game.
Alright, this. Yes, it's internet law that we have to bring up this feature whenever someone has to talk about Nitro Fueled. Look, I really think that people were being really overdramatic and blowing this out of proportions. You know, video game has microtransactions, they completely ignore everything that they liked about the core game, and treat it like it's the unholy demon spawned from Satan's backyard. Was it a dick move for Activision to add in the microtransactions a month after the game's release? Sure, but then again, this is Activision. What did you expect? If this game was being published by EA, then the situation would have been much worse. I'm not the best at talking about this particular topic in games. Microtransactions is a very touchy subject. My only personal experience with games like that are just mobile phone games. Well, okay, TF2 kind of counts, but for the most part, it's just mobile phone games. Want a special ability or character in the game? Want to continue on in the game story? Well, too bad, you gotta pay extra. Waste your time gambling on things and such and such. With Nitro Fueled's case, I think it's the most harmless way they could do it. I mean, they don't sell on the feature, it's just kind of there. And I honestly keep forgetting that tab in the pit stop is there. Plus, the fact that you can earn Wampa coins by doing practically anything in the game almost makes this feature pointless. Sure, it takes a while to earn enough Wampa coins to get that certain part or certain item you really want, but with enough patience, you can do it! But it feels like I'm the only one that has patience. Perhaps this game teaches you how to be patient. I mean, the Grand Prix events are over, everything's back in the pit stop, so there's no pressure, no more timed events and all. The only time I think they went a little too far with are the fancy brand promotional carts, like the Sour Patch Kids and Triton Gum cart set, and the very rare Xfinity cart. Fancy carts that were available for a limited time, yeah. And yet the Firehawk plane is still available, making it the only DLC item for this game.
Meh. I don't really put in much effort in those carts, and they're only released in America. One day we Europeans will have our revenge. We'll have our own Europe-exclusive carts for this game, like a black taxicab or Bessie from Doctor Who. Yeah, an epic racing car with neon lights and gadgets that can be only unlocked with the codes inside specially marked bags of Jelly Babies and Freddos.
Yeah, fancy shiny objects. But if you take a deeper look into this game, then you'll notice that the paint, decals, wheels, bodies, whatever, don't really change anything to the gameplay. They're just cosmetic. Heck, even characters in Nitro Fueled have become purely cosmetic ever since engine swapping was introduced. In some ways, I compare Nitro Fueled to Team Fortress 2, another game where its big thing is having lots of hats and cosmetics for your characters that don't really do anything. Sure, there are fancy weapons that you can find that changes the stats to change up the gameplay a little bit, but putting on a silly hat that's on fire with sparkly disco dancing lights doesn't really make me a super strong or super weak player. They're just cosmetics and nothing else. Probably explains why I don't really care for all those fancy stats that hats have in the game, unusual, strange, vinyl, whatever. But hey, at least it ain't like Team Sonic Racing's idea of letting you unlock stuff by gambling away at their shop in Gotcha Ball style. Well, then again, the pit stop in Nitro Fueled can also be very random in what's available on certain days, so I guess this is more of a draw in terms of in-game shop layouts.
And then there's the racetracks. Can't be a racing game without driving around on a well-made track. Bit difficult to say what tracks are my fave, but I would probably go for Rouge Tubes, Deep Sea Driving, as well as the Spooky Grand Prix track. Least favourite would be Hot Air Skyway and Out of Time.
One thing that these games have in common is recycling racetracks. Team Sonic Racing featuring Sonic-themed tracks from the past Sega All-Stars racing games, and Nitro Fueled brings back every track from the original CTR and C&K, along with adding in a few new ones. But unlike Team Sonic Racing, where they lazily recycle past tracks with no added flair or updates, Nitro Fueled is the other way around. Still familiar, but also feels fresh and new with the updated designs and track layouts and all that stuff. Well, not track layouts, but basically the atmosphere feels new. Take, for example, the track Dragon Mines, an underground mining area. So here we see there's more elements like miners working in the background, small huts in the underground area, more mechanical drilling machines going on. But then it does something interesting, like, hey, this place is called Dragon Mines, right? Okay, let's add in a dragon. So maybe you'd think it would be some kind of random generic dragon, maybe a Spyro cameo. Nope, it's actually the dragon from the castle stages from Wrath of Cortex. Yeah, nice little Easter egg taken from the franchise. Then you also have Nitro Kart tracks getting updated to remove the anti-gravity sections to rig the roads and jumps. Kind of funny how in Team Sonic Racing actually has a few anti-gravity sections, but since the carts don't really transform or anything, the sections just feel weak, like, oh yeah, we're defying the laws of gravity, yep, no biggie. Also in Team Sonic Racing, there's an ice track that has some lava mixed into it, along with a lava creature showing up. Ooh, who could this be? Is it Iblis from Sonic 06? Maybe it's Ifrit from Sonic Rivals 2? No, it's just random generic lava monster. Lame. Another track that I find pretty lazy is also in the winter area, the Scrapyard track. It has Scrapyard in it, so you'd think we'd be driving around, scrapped robots and whatnot, but no, majority of the level's theme is just ice. Yeah, sorry Sega, putting in a random robot in boxes doesn't really make this feel like an actual scrapyard. That's how I feel about the tracks in Team Sonic Racing. Very lame on the themes and thematics. Like the racetracks related to Planet Whist, the casino levels, and Seaside Hill, all pretty much just blend together with not much variety. Nitro Fueled, on the other hand, has more fun with its variety, like all the brand new tracks are unique for the most part, like the post-apocalyptic themed track, or driving around in a giant circus tent with stunt shows, cannons, and rides going on inside. One example I can think of on how Nitro Fueled that has variety yet taking place in the same world would be from the Nitro Kart tracks, like for example, Geary's home world, Techni, a futuristic world. So here we have Android Alley. It's a very bright and clean, happy future. Blue skies, flying cars, very nice. Kind of interesting, considering how in the original version it was very, yellow. Then you have Assembly Lane, where it's more the industrial side of the planet, driving in and out of factories, running on conveyor belts, all while the colors are a lot more brown and darker. And finally, there's Electron Avenue, a city area taking place at night, with lots of bright neon colors popping out. This is how you handle doing varieties with 3 tracks in the same world the right way when it comes to designs and thematic changes. Other than that, I don't really have much to say on the track design. Nitro Fuel just has so much variety with their locations compared to Team Sonic Racing, where that game prefers to play it safe and just use some of the more generic and overused themes. And that ends this rambling video. Just a more different look when observing Team Sonic Racing and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. I'm sure you already tell which one I consider to be the better game, but then again, there is something that kind of makes this video a bit pointless, and that's the differences between Sonic and Crash's lifespan. So with Sonic, even on bad days, the franchise has always managed to stay alive in any way, shape, or form, whether it be TV shows, comics, merchandising, whatever. But not Crash Bandicoot. There was a time when the franchise was left dormant and abandoned. No new Crash games, no other medias to keep the series alive, nothing. Then it comes back from the dead, and every Crash fan, including me, will make sure this series has a great second life, and it doesn't go back to the video game graveyard again. So if you think I'm being biased or fanboy-y more than often in this video, well, there you go. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is that Sega should really take some notes from Beanox in terms of content on what the fans want to see, and at least in terms of spin-off games or whatever.
To be fair, Sega is a Japanese company. With their other branches in America and Europe, it can be challenging dealing with communication and translation errors.
I suppose.
I'm pretty glad I chose Crash Team Racing over Team Sonic Racing. Whilst it has a unique concept of having races divided into teams to win instead of each other, I feel that CTR has more to offer, especially with the Grand Prix. I wish Mario Kart would learn from this, like how Mario Kart DS has a mission mode.
Right, so kiddies, join us next time for the I don't know, whenever I feel like I have the motivation to continue this series. Feels like after Sonic Forces, I just ran out of interest to keep the series going.
Well, we could talk about something different, like the Archie Sonic comics, a Zelda dissected, or something more positive, like the new Sonic movie. We never did hear your thoughts on Sonic Dissected.
And we still have some time left in this video, so I might as well give my brief thoughts about the film. In my opinion, I think that the 2020 Sonic the Hedgehog film That's what you get for not playing Sonic Mania!
Nuss to this, I'm going home to play more Doom Eternal.